Okay, so my name is Margarita Fernandez. I'm a PhD student in the Department of Plant and Soil Science and part of the Agroecology and Rural Livelihoods group, as well as a GUND graduate fellow. What I'll present today is a small piece of an ongoing collaborative research project that aims to understand and address the issue of seasonal hunger in coffee communities of Mesoamerica through an integrated analysis of food sovereignty, agroecology, and livelihoods. Specifically, I'll share some results emerging from our question of the role of subsistence under the canopy. What's the relationship between agrobiodiversity and food security? So a little bit of background. Despite continued increases in global food production, close to 1 billion people worldwide experience hunger. Alarmingly, 40% of these are small-scale farmers. Most hunger experienced worldwide is seasonal and chronic. In our field sites, seasonal hunger manifests as annual periods of food scarcity ranging from 1 to 7 months. This time of scarcity comes after the maize and bean reserves have been depleted and before the next harvest. It overlaps with an annual increase in staple food prices, as well as the annual rainy season, which causes flooding, limiting physical access to food, and these communities are very remote. So one of the objectives of our research is to explore what are the relationships that exist between agrobiodiversity and food security. We did this using a transdisciplinary and participatory approach that collected qualitative and quantitative socio-ecological data. One of our research sites is in the southern state of Chiapas in Mexico. We worked with a certified organic fair trade coffee cooperative called SESMACH, whose member farmers are all located within the buffer zone of a nationally important biosphere reserve called El Triunfo. This question is relevant to our site because communities in this landscape balance subsistence production with participation in a global commodity market. There's been much research documenting the benefits of diverse coffee agroecosystems to biodiversity, but there's been less documenting the potentially positive relationship between the livelihoods of farmers who steward these landscapes and biodiversity. So we found that farmers traditionally manage high levels of agrobiodiversity in 5 land use systems. The main land use system is coffee grown in diverse agroforestry systems, which provide an array of regulating and provisioning services. Within the coffee plots, farmers highly value a variety of wild leafy greens for consumption as well as beekeeping. The next important land use system is traditional maize bean plots that harbor a diversity of associated crops. Some farmers also raise small livestock and manage home gardens for subsistence. And finally, many communities also own forests and participate in payment for ecosystem services programs. So in order to understand the relationship between different levels of agrobiodiversity managed by farmers and food security, we calculated household species richness of plants and livestock in each land use system and extracted from that the edible species richness for all land use systems. So using a Spearman's correlation analysis, we found a strong inverse relationship between agrobiodiversity and seasonal hunger, so that as agrobiodiversity increases, the number of months a household experiences food shortages decreases. Households that fall into the upper left part of the graph do not have any subsistence crops and are highly dependent on the coffee commodity market to support their livelihoods. Those that fall on the lower right part of the graph participate in the coffee market, but because they have more diversified production systems, are less vulnerable to market volatility and low yields. As one farmer told me, if there's no money, we won't doubt where our food comes from because we produce it. Results from this research contribute to building evidence that agrobiodiverse landscapes are important for food and nutrition security. The challenge is to identify context-dependent strategies that support practices that link biodiversity conservation and rural livelihoods. In identifying these strategies, an important place to look is how our diets link environmental health and human health. Thank you, and I hope these results spark some food for thought in the discussion session.